So, on the Ukraine war, peace looks as distant as ever despite Trump's best efforts. Putin doesn't seem interested in negotiating any sort of deal. And in Beijing, he vowed to keep on fighting. This war's been going 3.5 years. How does the conflict ever end? I mean, Trump came to office insisting he could solve it in a day. What's the plan from here?
Well, I think there's a couple of options. I mean, one is I do believe that the war, the most likely way it would end is through some kind of negotiated settlement, and similar to what we established after the Korean War. Separate the two sides, and you have some kind of armistice in place. That would be the most desirable option. We obviously have a lot of work to do. It's obvious that Putin doesn't agree with that. President Trump certainly wants this war to end. Zelensky does, and so do his people. But they don't want to do it on Russian terms. I'm talking about Zelensky and the Ukrainian people. They're clear about that. They don't want to give up a territory that Russia has not taken. They want the 19,000 kids that they've kidnapped back, and they certainly want the prisoners of war back, which would likely take place if the war did end. But the other way it would end, if Putin has his way, what he's trying to do is break the will of the United States, wear us out and wear our president out in supporting Ukraine, and do the same with the Europeans. And he's prepared to continue the war. I mean, the fact is, we haven't demonstrated to Putin that his strategic objective, which is to take Ukraine, that's obvious, and also expand into Eastern Europe, we haven't deterred him from the thought that continuing the war is his best option. And that's why he's continued to talk nice, but play very, very hard. And until we get to that point where he sees that continuing the war is not a good option for him, his economy is in the tank and it's going to get further. The Russian people are starting to suffer as a result of that, and they see the war as being hopeless. And we give Ukraine the weapons they need to shut down Russia's offensive, and then we give them the weapons they need to conduct deep attacks into Russia and take away the sanctuary they have for all of their logistics that's supporting the war. If we did those two things and tough economic sanctions, and then took them out of this SWIFT financial exchange system, then they were going to have a problem. And that would likely mean some kind of negotiated settlement. But we're far from that, as you can see.
Well, I've got to ask you, you make it sound so simple. Why haven't those things been done?
It's a lack of will. And I think the reality has been that we're trying to work a deal with Putin, and he is a master at manipulation and delay tactics. And he keeps promising, like he did in Alaska. I think the results were obvious in Alaska. He promised that he will meet with Zelensky in a bilateral meeting and then have a trilateral meeting that would include President Trump after. So on September the 1st, his spokesperson said there never was an agreement for a bilateral or a trilateral meeting going forward. A promise made and a promise not kept. We've been watching this for months, and it's likely going to continue where he'll throw us a bone, some incentive that looks appealing, that he's maybe changing his position. But then once you get into the details of something like that, it could lead maybe to another discussion with him. Then he's still delayed. And until such time as we put the hammer down, so to speak, and do the three things that I suggested we do, the military and the economic combined, I think we're just going to continue to protract this thing, and I think protract it unnecessarily.
But we're almost out of time, but I just got to ask you one more question. Donald Trump likes to boast about having great relationships with Xi and with Putin and with Kim Jong-un. Does he?
Well, he believes, and I've spoken to him about this, he believes that having a personal relationship with an adversary, and listen, he knows who these people are. He knows these are thugs and killers, and they oppress and repress their own people, and they have interest in domination of their regions, and Xi has an interest in dominating the world. He gets all of that. He certainly understands that what he wants to achieve through a personal relationship is be able to move that person closer to an acceptable compromise. He thinks the personal relationship assists you in doing that. And he knows, and I think this is what's been holding him back, you see, once he drops the hammer on Putin, which I think is likely to happen, then that relationship is over. And getting back to something like that may even be delayed. And that's arguable, that point or not. But I think that's the basis for it. It's not that he talks nice to them publicly. Privately, he knows who they are and what they stand for. But he's not going to go after them publicly and certainly go after their character and their values and what they're doing to their own people and other people. He certainly is very familiar with the details of all of that. He believes if he does that, that ruins the relationship and the ability to get that person to compromise. That is his thought in terms of personal diplomacy in dealing with foreign adversaries. It is different than most presidents we've had, but he feels very strongly about it.
Great insights. General Jack Keane, thanks so much for joining me tonight.
Yeah, great talking to you. Thank you.